Well, hey there, gang. It's Jim
And Christy.
Jacobus. Welcome to our follow-up to the presentation we did at the Grand Design Rally. Babe, I don't know about you, but I thought that was so much fun. We met so many cool people, loved doing the presentation, and so we're glad you guys are back with us. This is a follow-up we promised.
Right. And we learned so much from doing both of the presentations. There were a lot of people who came up afterwards with great questions, great tips, and we were just excited to be a part of that. And so we're thankful to anybody who arranged that for the seminar opportunities.
Yeah, guys, we're in Grand Island, Nebraska right now, sitting here on the work day, which we stop and do. But babe, what did I tell you yesterday about the rally presentation? Do you remember? About we did all that. We helped a bunch of people, but I learned more from that one guy that came up to me after the presentation talking about Boondockers Welcome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's always an opportunity for us to learn from everybody all around us, and given all the convention, all the wisdom within the room,
Yeah.
I just think it was just, like I said, a great opportunity for us to learn from the experts in the room.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for participating. This is the follow up that we promised you there at the rally. Kind of our quick agenda today. We're going to go over the slides from the rally. We're going to be just hitting the high points and probably the most important things we want you to remember. And then I'm going to be doing a software demo separately from this. It'll be a different video. And then we'll send all of that out, the slides, this presentation, and the demo via a number of channels where you guys can grab a hold of it and have some fun with it. So
And here's our warning and disclaimer. If anyone tells you there's only one way to do it, as I tell my counseling clients, run fast, run far, because there's a variety of tools that you can use. There's a variety of opportunities for you to get out and see this amazingly beautiful country that we have. And we're just going to share with you today some tips and tricks that we've found. And like I said, this is how we do it and it works for us, but we're in the process of learning all the time.
yeah.
Take what you want, take what works for you and ignore the rest, or just use it as an opportunity to explore what is in your best interest.
Yeah. And again, if we say something that doesn't fit, just ignore it. You're fine, perfectly fine with you doing that. So, babe, I still like this quote that I saw. It says, "Destiny is what you're supposed to do in life. Fate is what kicks you in the ass and make you do it." And I didn't share the picture of our original travel trailer, but tell them a little bit about that story.
Well, we actually started camping on a whim. I had a very dear cousin who put on Facebook that they were getting rid of the trailer. We had not been a family that camped a lot. We had not owned an RV previous to that. It just sounded like a really awesome opportunity. I know my cousin to take extremely good care of his stuff. And so when it presented itself, we went down and went to his ranch, looked at it, and decided on kind of a whim that we were going to be RV owners for the very first time, not knowing very much about things. And what was interesting too is the first weekend that we went camping, it wasn't the best adventure. And it might have been one of those things that turned people off to camping because not only did we have a knowledge deficit, we had a problem
That's
with
an
our
understatement.
electricity. There were alarms going off. And actually, when we were pulling it out of his property, we both looked at each other and go,
Like, what the
oh
hell are we doing?
no, what have we done? We're pulling this 32-foot trailer behind a F-150, didn't have a lot of the resources and availability. That's why going to an owner's rally or getting information by Facebook groups can be so invaluable. We had to call my cousin a couple of times and ask him questions, and he was a wealth of information. But just starting out, that was our story, and it's been an amazing journey to one that now we have gone full time, and that's a totally different conversation about what it took to go full time and what all's involved with it. And we oftentimes say it's not for everybody, but it really works out well for us.
Yeah, maybe we can do a webinar or a seminar next year at the Grand Design Rally on what it takes to go full time. But
Yeah.
anyway, so oh, by the way, there's Marley.
Ah, yes. Our
Hi,
other part
Marley.
of Team Jacobus is our 100-pound yellow lab, who is just an absolute delight. If he didn't shed, he'd be the perfect dog.
Yeah, yeah. He's for sale though, if anybody wants him.
No, he's not.
So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the mindset here and chime in whenever you feel like you've got something, because I know you do. But when we actually started doing this presentation because so many people were saying, I can't find a place to camp, can't find a place to camp, can't find a place to camp. And surely it's getting more difficult day by day, with more and more people getting into it and more people out traveling, which I think is a good thing. But
Mhm.
we've never not been able to find a place to stay. And so part of our mindset is we're always going to find a place to stay. And by the way, now with that guy sharing Boondockers Welcome with us at our seminar, we have more places to stay, and I'm blown away by the new options that we have. But in order to be able to do that, we've got to be flexible. And again, if this is your mindset, I understand it. I'm just going to suggest that you might want to be a little more flexible. But if your point of view is I can only stay at a state park, that's the only place I want to stay, then you will be severely limited, because the state parks are very popular for good reason, and there may be some weekends that you want to go that you get shut out. If you say I can only handle camping with full hookups, I get that. It's certainly a whole lot easier than having to boondock or not having sewage hookups and what have you. But if that is your mindset, then you're going to be limited in how many places you can go. Same thing if I can only handle pull-throughs because I'm nervous about backing my RV up. I get that, trust me. But the more flexible we are, the more options there are, the better. We really only require, I said two things, there's three, I guess. First thing is that it's safe. I mean, we both always want to be safe, and
Mhm.
I've not felt like we've gone anywhere where it wasn't safe. I don't know about you,
Mhm.
but I've never felt like we were going to be in a position to not be safe.
Mhm.
Um, and then we require that our rig fits.
Right.
Okay, and we prefer that it fits in its level of a two,
Right.
which we ran into just the other day on our way out of there. We hit a site, don't need to name names or anything, but we really struggled getting level to the point that we left the rig hooked up to the truck, which in and of itself was a learning experience because it's the first time we've done that. And then we require a place that is dog friendly or pet friendly. And that's the
Mhm.
one thing I didn't talk about at the rally. But baby,
Right.
I know this next one is true, that we both have to learn how to laugh and learn from mistakes because we've made a few.
Right. Right. And one of the things that if you look on our, we call our total rig Beauty and the Beast because we have a Dodge Ram, and of course our Momentum is a 399 toy hauler. So together we are a very big setup. And what you see in front of you, the picture on the screen, is actually from Yellowstone. So unfortunately, if we're going to want to camp at some of the national parks, inside the parks themselves, they're really not set up for rigs our size. So sometimes it has to get in the mindset of we're going to have to make some accommodations for certain things if it's going to be something that we really hope for. But learning to laugh at our mistakes and at ourselves is going to be crucial. And so I think that's invaluable anytime you're dealing with people in a short confined space and traveling and all the things that can come up. And like we just said, we have to make the most of what we deal with. And there are limitations sometimes from time to
Yep.
time.
We've had to laugh and learn a lot, haven't we?
Right. And one of the things that I get, and as we pointed out, I am actually a marriage counselor. That this has strengthened our team. We're in this
Yeah.
together. There's a lot of times where I feel bad for Jim because he drives 99.99% of the time. And so when some decisions are made, I think he's the better person to make those decisions because he's handling the driving and he's responsible for us when we're on the road. I have tried it and I'm not saying I can't do it, but that's one of my goals is in the future. I do want to be able to do all the elements of taking care of the rig just like he does. But we've relied on each other's strengths and tried to minimize the weaknesses that we have.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate that, sweetie. And I don't mind driving, but let me make sure I add to this that Chrissy does a great job of getting everything ready for the rig, getting everything ready so that when we drive, we're comfortable. Make sure we have food, sandwiches, snacks, drinks, and it's not the little lady does this and the
Yeah.
man does that. That's not it at all because that's not how we look at it. But
Mhm.
we both bring some strengths to the table and like the last thing is, we're really in this together, and we look at it
Mhm.
as when we talk about Team Jacobus. Again, that's another seminar in and of itself, but that is how we kind of look at this. So
Right.
mindset is huge, and I believe the reason, babe, we've never been shut out of a place to stay is because we had the mindset that we're always going to find a place. We're very flexible, and
Mhm.
we have kind of minimal requirements. We make the best out of wherever we're at,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day we get to live where most people vacation, and that's a pretty
Exactly.
darn good deal.
Right.
So
Right. Right. And one of the things that we oftentimes say is to remind ourselves of that is that this has worked out as a great plan because our big plan was we still own a home in Sugarland, Texas. It's being rented out currently, but we had the opportunity to spend significant amounts of time down in South Texas around my side of the family. I'm blessed. My parents are both still alive, but when they get in their 80s, they're going to need more help from us. So we spend the winter months down in the Corpus area. We're also really lucky in that we have three very cute grandchildren that
oh
live
yeah,
up in the North Texas area
and caretakers.
with their caretakers. Exactly. And we have time to spend around them as well as Jim's sister and her family and some other very significant and important people. And then one of the things that was really important to us when we bought this was the statement, it's called a travel trailer for a reason. We really enjoy traveling. We really like getting out and seeing the United States in a very in-depth way. And being able to spend 4 months out of the year traveling has really, truly been the blessing. So our big plan is 4 months in South Texas, 4 months in the North Texas area, and 4 months traveling around the United States. And as we're talking to you, we're in the 4 months that's part of our traveling.
Yep.
One of the questions that came up a great deal, and I think we'll write a blog on this because several people after the seminar came up to me and said, how did y'all make the decision? When did you start planning? And we're already starting to talk about plans for next year and the subsequent
We
years
are.
because there's a lot of planning, especially for some of the popular destinations that we're looking at for, 2023 even. So we do want to be mindful of that, but we've have some things on our bucket list. And this year, the bucket list has some things that are important to Jim. But before we got up to the Grand Design Rally, I got to check something off of a bucket list that I created I think it was in my first master's program, where we were supposed to write 100 things we wanted to do before we died. And one of them was to go to a Kentucky horse farm. And so that was part of my bucket list, and I got to check it off in spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
If you ever have the opportunity to go to the Lexington, Kentucky area and see the amazing horse farms there, absolutely breathtaking. I love horses. I should preface that, but we went to Claiborne Farms and just had an amazing time. So I have my bucket list. Jim has his bucket list, and the trip on the second part of what we've labeled as the grand adventure. The first half was going up to the Grand Design Rally. The second half is going to the Grand Canyon. Jim gets to check off certain things off of his bucket list.
Hmm.
So why don't you tell him a little bit about your bucket list items?
Yeah. Well, and again, we both kind of like different things, but I'm really excited about going to Utah and seeing Moab and going to Colorado and We're going to visit some friends that we've known for a long, long time in Colorado. Babe, I don't know if I've even told you, but I did set up lunch with Ruben Gonzalez, who's a speaker buddy of mine that lives in Colorado Springs. And then when we're in Durango, um, Katie Bird is going to be there, and Katie was a friend of our son's in from middle school, and so we're going to get to meet her and her husband there and spend some time with them. They own the Harley Davidson dealership in Durango, so we're going to do that. But then we're going to go to Albuquerque, the Balloon Festival, which is an
Mhm.
our bucket list item because we were
Mhm.
married
Exactly.
in a hot air balloon on Valentine's Day. Now here's what we think is so important about this. How we decide where we're going to go. Christy has things she wants to do. Now, they may not necessarily be exactly what I want to do, but I want to support her in that. There's some things
Mhm.
that I want to do that she may not exactly want to do, which I think next year, elk hunting in Colorado with Chris Brown is on my list. That is not
Right.
Christy's cup of tea, but she'll certainly support me doing that and go with me. And then we both work on making sure that we're checking things off of our bucket list.
Right.
And so one of the things we really encourage you guys to do, as a matter of fact, down in the comments on this blog or on this Facebook page, wherever you did find this video, take a moment to write down what are some of your bucket list items and let us
Mhm.
encourage you. Tell us where you want to go, what you want to do. As a matter of fact, we have a podcast that we did on bucket lists. I might even put a link to that in there. But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, this is a great way to kind of decide. And again, we encourage you uh, to support your spouse's bucket list items. Again, you don't have to
Mhm.
want to do it, but support it.
Right.
And then consequently, we hope that they return the favor, even if
Mhm.
they don't necessarily want to do it. You hopefully they'll do the same thing for you. But then we really
Mhm.
encourage you to create things that you guys want to go do together.
Right.
And
And you know what's interesting about this is, like Jim said, we're in Nebraska right now. When we got here, they had a billboard that said the Nebraska State Fair is going on. There is probably nothing more Midwest than a state fair. And so I added to my bucket list because when we were in Elkhart at the showgrounds, I was just like, that sounds like that's a must do
I'm
thing
I'm
is to
betting
go
there's a
to a
lot of people want to come back when that fair's going on, having
Yes,
just been on
didn't
the
that look
fairgrounds. Oh my gosh.
amazing? So a bucket list is organic and it's growing, and I would encourage people not just to think about it, but to actually write it down and
Yeah.
then tell other people about it so they can help you with checking things off your list.
Yeah. And hold you accountable for doing it too.
Exactly. Exactly.
So here's the tools that we use, and again, I'll go through and do a full demo of this stuff on a separate video. But we use Reserve America for most of the state parks. There's a few of them that don't use Reserve America, but when we're using the state, I just go to their website and figure it out. Recreation.gov is one of our favorites because we love the Corps of Engineer parks. And babe, I can't begin to tell you how many people came up to me after the seminar and said, "We've never been to a Corps of Engineers park." And I said,
Mhm.
"Well, first thing is there's tons of them,
Mhm.
and second thing is I think I like them better than the state parks, and we love
Right.
state parks."
Right. And with the Golden Pass, since it is tied to the national park system, the campsites are half price. So some of the times that we're staying there, it's $11. So
Yep.
it can help
Yeah, it's
knowing about those things, to save you some money.
yeah. Some of those when we pay half price, I almost feel like we're stealing because
Yeah.
they're so
ex-
nice.
They're so
Harvest
nice.
Host, I mean, Campgrounds of America. We're at a KOA right now, and
Hmm.
it's a very nice KOA, and it's a
Hmm.
great little right off the freeway stopping point. We're at the KOA in Grand Island, Nebraska. We're at KOA in Iowa yesterday, and again, we like those. They're very convenient. Harvest Host for boondocking is a great resource. And
Hmm.
babe, I didn't add this to the slide, but we're going to put Boondockers Welcome right underneath that because
Hmm.
I signed up for it yesterday thinking we might have to actually use it, or day before
Hmm.
yesterday, I guess it was, when we couldn't get leveled there in Iowa. But at the end of the day, we're going to start looking for opportunities to take advantage of
Hmm.
the Boondockers Welcome resource. There's just a lot of cool places there.
Right.
Um,
And as we said too, one of the things that's good about Harvest Host is a lot of times it's on wineries or breweries or farms or museums. It's a lot of place where you can help small businesses and local
yeah,
owners. And some of the things that we've seen will be added to a bucket list.
yeah,
And we've had
no
great
doubt.
experiences Harvest Host in the past. And I'm with you. I really want to explore that in the future.
Yeah, and I was just thinking again, the KOA that we're at looks like right out of Field of Dreams. I expect Shoeless Joe Jackson to walk out of that corn out there any minute now
Hmm.
because we got corn all the way around us. And it's nice, and there's nothing wrong. But I think some of these Harvest Hosts and the Boondockers Welcome, we're going to leave those going. That was cool,
Right.
and they seem to be relatively inexpensive, or if not free.
Right.
So
Well,
free is always good.
and one of the things we learned, one of my favorite things that we did there were so many favorites at the rally, is we went to the Amish Brown Bag and we
Hmm.
met the gentleman who does the woodworking at T-Berry's. He's actually a harvest host. So you could do a harvest host and stay at an Amish farm
Yeah, but don't tell anybody that we're planning on doing that right before the
that
rally
next year.
next year, because we might wind up not being able to get in there.
There you go.
But we are
Know the
we are planning to
secrets.
do that. So currently we do
Yeah.
not use BLM, Hip Camp. We are now using Boondockers Welcome and others, but we're a work in progress. We're not
Hmm.
through learning. As a matter of fact, when we're in Utah, we're really looking into how can we take more advantage of Bureau of Land Management, dispersed camping, and things like that. So we're learning
Hmm.
right along with everybody else. RV Trip Wizard is the backbone tool. That's one I'll be doing a separate demo on. You can get that at RV Life as an app on your phone, and I like to use RVTripWizard.com as the tool that I create everything with because I like working on a desktop better than I do my phone. And then we use the
Hmm.
Garmin 785 RV GPS system, and we like it. We particularly like it because it has its own built-in dash cam, and brings
Hmm.
a little extra to the table. So I'm going to show you on RV Trip Wizard how to set up your account, how to set up all your default settings, how to open up a new trip, set the defaults for the new trip, how to set your filters, and how to plan your trip. And then, like I said, look for the live demo on these particular places. All these places you'll be able to find it. Joyhauling.com is our website and our blog. And let me just reiterate, we're not selling anything. We don't make any money off of any of this stuff. We have no current plans to do that. We just like helping people. You can go to our Joy Hauling with Team Jacobus Facebook page and join that group. I'll be putting all of these demos and recordings there. I hope that they'll let me put these things on the Grand Design National Owners Rally. Sometimes they'd rather you not do that because they don't want a bunch of people putting blog links and stuff like that on there. I get it. Same thing with the Grand Design Owners Group. Hopefully, because of the content, they'll let us do that. If they don't, again, you'll be able to find it on joyhauling.com or on our Facebook page. And you certainly welcome to friend Christy or I on Facebook. We love that. And then when you get this stuff, feel free to share it with some of your camping friends that may not have had the opportunity to come to the rally. So that will be some places you can find all of this information.
Hmm.
So planning a short trip is pretty easy. You're going to start with point A in your departure date. You see here on the screen, this is actually the trip that we're on right now. And we're
Hmm.
right up here in Nebraska. But that our starting point was down there in Dallas, Fort Worth area. And then you're going to pick out point B and your arrival date. So let's just say you're going to go from one short trip, one place to a state park for the weekend or something like that. So you're going to put
Hmm.
point A in there, point B, and you're going to look for places to stay, or you're going to make it to the place that you want to stay. Do your research if you're going to a place you've never been before, and I'll show you that in the demo, and then you book your stay. All right. Planning a long trip is not a lot different than that.
Hmm.
Kind of reminds me of your MS-150 experience, sweetheart.
Right. One of the things, there is a bike ride from Houston to Austin, and it's 150 miles. The proceeds and the charity is for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. Awesome opportunity, great event, especially when you go to the small towns and people cheer you on. Or the really tough one is when you see people who have multiple sclerosis who are either cheering you on
Cracks
from
you
the
up there, didn't
sidelines
it?
Or yeah, it did. Or even more impressive is when you see them riding a bike and
Mhm.
going through and to the hills of Austin. One of the things when people first told me they wanted to do it, but they couldn't imagine riding a bike 150 miles, you don't start off with the end goal, but you start off in small segments. And you say, I'd say to them, can you ride a bike 10 to 15 miles? Eh, And if the answer is yes, then what you do is instead of seeing the entirety of the trip, you just see it in one step in front of the next. And a lot of times it's beneficial to have that mindset because there's so much in the journey rather than the end destination that has to be appreciated and just loved, because part of the deal is you're challenging yourself to do something, and in this case see amazing sights in America. There will be obstacles. There will be times when things don't go as you planned. You prepare to the degree that you can, but you expect the unexpected. And I think that has a lot to do with any trips or any times that you're talking about going somewhere on a vacation or on a trip.
Yeah, because if you looked at this picture here on the slide, that could be pretty overwhelming. I think we're
Yes.
doing 26 stops over 82 days or something like that. But let
Mhm.
me just point to this picture here. One of the things we like to do is our first stop on a trip. And again, we've been sitting still for a while, but a trip like this is a short little 170, 180-mile trip, pretty easy, kind of shake out the cobwebs from not having been on the road for a
Yeah.
while. In this case, we went to Lake of the Pines, beautiful place, stayed 3 days, get the rig more in travel mode than in sitting still mode. And then the next trip was to Hot Springs. And so I put in Goshen up there as kind of we got a start point in Dallas. Goshen is the first landing place with this kind of a 3-part trip. And then I made the short stop for us. And then I hit the place along the way that Christy wanted to see. And
Mhm.
again, I wanted to see too. Christy's really good at the creative side. And then I just kind of planned the trip along the way. If you'll see that there's one little deal there. We stayed at a campsite in Tennessee called Natchez Trace. All right. That was designed to be a 2-night stay over, short, sweet. And we've been there before. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
Well, we wound up taking a day away from that and then putting it on the hot springs and staying an extra day because we wanted to see more stuff. So again,
Mhm.
one step at a time, put in the big rocks and then put your trip along there along the way as well. So we use the 330 rule as a
Mhm.
guide. In other words, we want to go no more than 330 miles and be sitting still by 330 every day so we can unwind and relax a little bit. Last couple of days, we've knocked out a little bit more than that, but we are doing it so we can get to Colorado Springs at a certain point in time. And then you look for places to stay. Okay, I do that based on what Chrissy tells me she wants to do or where she'd like to go,
Mhm.
or stopping off points in between.
Mhm.
Research the options for places to stay and make sure they're good. Then you book your stay. All right, you can book that
Mhm.
online. You can call. You can do a number of different things. But once we do all that, then we get to start looking for excursions, and that's
Right.
where Christie's genius kicks in.
No, not necessarily. But one thing, Jim, I wanted to say a while ago, because we have an extra wrinkle that needs to be added to our trip planning, in that we both still work.
Yeah,
And we
that's true.
always have to consider too, not only do we work, but we have to be in parks that can support um, being able to do live streaming and stuff. So there are some elements to this that add extra things. Like you said earlier, we also have to consider the fact we have a large animal, and most parks will take Marley because of his breed, but sometimes I know other people struggle with that. But when it comes to booking your excursion, your side trips, and your sightseeing, there are so many things. We stayed a month in Maine so we could do as much as possible. But I think to think that you're going to see and do everything in a region, even when you have a extended time like a month, is probably going to lead you to disappointment. And what I did for the trip to Maine, going up there, I put about 25 things that I wanted us to do. In Maine, we had about 25 things that we wanted to do. The trip down to Myrtle Beach beach, we had stuff to do. So all along the way, we're trying to take advantage of all the things to see and do with the expectation we're not going to be able to. So one of the things about booking your excursions, especially if there's something that really matters or are time limited or crucial, you might want to do those early or make that a thing that you're going to take advantage or you're going to make sure that you do early on in the planning.
Well, maybe we didn't say that during the seminar the other day, and I meant to, but we totally skipped it. So I'm glad you brought that up. We're never going to leave anywhere going, we did it all.
Hmm.
And if you're disappointed by that, you're going to be disappointed everywhere you go
Hmm.
because,
Right.
you can't do it all. And so
Right.
there's always going to be, hey, we didn't get to do this, we didn't get to do that. And if that disappoints you, then work on that
Right.
and go back,
Right.
because like I said, I don't think we've ever been somewhere where we went, well, we did everything we needed to do there.
Right.
There's nothing left to do. Now,
Right.
Grand Isle, Nebraska may check that list tomorrow. But again, it's a stopping place where we plan a day of work so that we
Mhm.
can both do what we do. And we've had a great busy day today. This has been a good
Yeah.
work day.
Yeah.
But again, I think that last little point there is one of the things that you're really good at and you're helping me be really good at, which is enjoy the anticipation of planning the trip.
Yeah.
I mean, the
We have
trip
been,
starts giving early if you
yeah,
do that.
we have been looking forward to the owners rally since the day that we
Yep.
actually found out we got in. So it can be one of those things that helps build the excitement and the anticipation for the trip. We do have to, as we said from the very start, we do have to be flexible. Our plans had changed multiple times
Yep.
on the way, to the trip, but that was a cornerstone for this year's Grand Adventure trip.
Yep. So that's really important stuff. At the end of the day, this is what a full dashboard looks like. And again, when I do the demo, I'll show you all of this and what it kind of looks like so you can see it up close and personal. And again, I just wanted to reiterate one more time, this is where you can find everything. I'm going to leave this slide up for a few minutes there so you can write this down if you're watching the video and place everything there. And then I'm going to give you the link to the freebies. But if you have any questions, you can hit us up on the Facebook pages. You can hit us up on our joyhauling.com blog. You can reach out to us any way you want to. We're glad to help any way we can. That's kind of why we do this, is because we enjoy doing it. And oh, by the way, we learn in the process. So don't hesitate to do that. Then again, there's where you can find this, if you will, or share it with other people. And then we still have the 50% off of the RV Life and RV Trip Wizard. And that code is Grand RV 2021. Grand RV 2021. And you can either do one of two things. You can go and get the app on your phone, download it and sign in there. And when you check out to pay for it, I think it's $49 a year. When you check out to pay for it, use that code Grand RV 2021. It'll give you 50% off. Or you can go to the website, rvtripwizard.com. You can sign up there. And when you get ready to pay and check out, you can use the code there. You can do either one of those. And then when you go to the other one, just use the same login that you set up on whichever one you use first. Now, I'm going to be really careful about this. If you watch the video this far, the guys at RV Trip Wizard have given me 6 more free copies. All right, 6 more free copies. So if you watch the video this far and you message me, hey, I want a free RV Trip Wizard, the first 6 people, babe, I'm going to give them the code for the free one.
Oh, awesome. I
Now I
didn't know
run the
that. So,
risk that nobody messages us, meaning nobody watched the video this far,
and yeah.
and then my feelings are going to be hurt. So if you do want a free copy, if you'll message me, I've got 6 more of those to give away, courtesy of the really kind guys at RV Trip Wizard and
And once
RV Life.
again, we are not affiliate. We
Nope.
don't get affiliate
Nope.
links from them. We don't get any benefit from them. We just think it's a great platform and we wanted to share it with others. Some people ask if we would share copies of our trips and everything too. And I'm not 100% sure how we share, you know, the trip to Yellowstone or the trip to Maine or this trip. But we can give you certainly some ideas on how it needs to be done. And we'll leave it open to questions, which probably will have to be sent to us. But if you have any questions or comments or anything, please feel free to reach out to us and just let us know.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to leave this slide up there. And again, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you want to contact us, you can do it any of these ways. Go to our Facebook page, friend us on Facebook, message us, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to tell you how much we appreciated the folks with Grand Design Rally allowing us to do the seminar we did. Babe, I had a blast. I know you did too.
Yeah.
And just from me personally, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Right. And one thing I did want to share with everybody, and I hate that I waited to the very end to say this. I cannot commend Pam and Red and all the volunteers who worked with this rally, because a lot of times you will see the things that maybe didn't go as planned, but I think everything was just spectacular.
It was amazing.
It was just such an amazing job. And a lot of that happens behind the scenes where people don't see it, the organization and all of that. And once again, kudos to Grand Design. Talk about their fulfillment of their tagline, wanting to make customers for life. I know we're in. So
we're in. Yep, all in.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Babe, thanks for sitting down and doing this with me. I love you.
Yeah. Love you too.